gets back home tonight. And the clock just starts right over, and the walls come closing in, and the bathroom dips and then twirls, and your eyes get sunken in so deeply you can't recognize the face you see so easily. No one gets back home tonight.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I am one of your hosts, Samara, and joined with me is my other two wonderful hosts, Riv and Jess. Hi. And we are once again continuing our interview
Continuing.
Taryn Talley. Welcome back, Taryn.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Jess. If you didn't see the first part, you need to go back and watch first part because it was absolutely amazing, astounding, ascending.
If going back to watch the one before this is going to make you stop watching our show, please continue listening or watching, and then go back later and listen to the first part. We don't want to alienate people here, Samara, do we?
Whatever order you like.
Do what you like.
Just
watch them all. Just throw on the season 2 playlist and watch the greatest hits. It's great.
Just watch them all.
Just watch them all. In no particular order. It's fine. Always be plug-in. We learned that from Erica last time. Taryn and Jess.
Yes.
I have a question for you both. So you've worked on podcast stuff together. You've worked together before. I would love to know more. I'd love to hear some anecdotes, some stories. Tell me all about it, please and thank you.
So I know Jess is going to agree, but I think our next Benedict episode was probably some of the most intense content that I've done.
Good or
are you
intense
familiar?
bad?
You're familiar with Nex's kind of suicide after significant bullying, but like to me, I that show has always stood out to be one of probably the best things I've done, and like Jess, you and I together with Vanessa, and just it was pretty intense.
Yeah, that was that. It definitely is. I know we've done a few episodes together on different topics, but that I was thinking about it the other day, and yes, that one definitely is the one that sticks out. I think that we were able to do that episode. I feel like maybe it was like a week or two after Max's passing. Like it was like pretty quick. And I know even, so there was still, I remember one of the things we were talking about was like all the different information coming through and how to make sense of all the information and misinformation, and which is something that we happen to talk about here quite a bit too, because it's just so prevalent to our times and almost any news story, and especially I feel like any kind of incident. Especially when if someone passes away, or some kind of violent event, which is so unfortunately like more than a daily occurrence in this country at this point, and is just so terrible. But yeah, I remember having just some really, really meaningful conversation. And that was one of the things I actually feel like I remember that time and Nex's passing having a really big effect on me, and that conversation having a big effect on like kind of me thinking about what kind of advocacy I'm doing. Because at the time, there are so many places to plug in, and there are so many things to do, and there are so many things to work on, that I remember that time period being like kind of a time of realignment for myself. Because at the time, the advocacy that I was doing was really focused around queer parents and queer people who wanted to be parents. And that's really important stuff to do too. That's like also really important. And I had done some things in that way, and I knew I had reached some people and kind of gotten some of the goals that I wanted to get with that work. And I remember when all of that happened with Nex, just being so kind of floored and distraught about all of it, and taking some time to actually think through. And I remember even having a conversation with someone of like, you can't get somebody to having kids if they can't make it out of high school. You know what I mean? Like we have to start with like allowing our young people to make it to adulthood before we can get to the point of these other things that come with adulthood if you can't even make it there. And it really did give me some time to just reconsider a little bit of what I'm doing for now. And one of the things that I kind of ended up doing was, switching some of my energies around a little bit, deciding that I had done enough with what I had been doing. And because of the situation, a lot of it because of the political situation and the situation of this country, trying to kind of refocus some of my work to be wider, and not so laser focused on that specific subset of the queer community, in order to try to have, in order to try to reach more people and just encourage people to stick around, you know. But yeah, I remember that being just a very, very meaningful conversation. Yeah, and I
I
think that
mean, it was
unfortunately, sorry, I was just gonna say, I think I
oh,
think
go.
it's been over 2 years. I think that's been about 2 years too.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, it was really intense. It's funny that you were thinking about it too, because like when we were emailing and messaging, right? That episode pops in my mind every time I talk to you. And then of course the news that that education leader in Oklahoma resigned because he got caught with porn on his school laptop.
Oh
So
yes.
so like that one tool is down, but there's probably another 1,000 tools behind them. But yeah, that was pretty intense. I mean, I think I've done more work advocating for youth um, in the time between that episode and now. So focusing on trans youth, high school age, gender affirming care, had a stronger focus on that, I think, over the last 2 years. So like where most of my content previously was more focused on, adults, right? And transitioning, making that authentic journey, right? And just what to consider and things like that, very, basic stuff, right? I think I dove a little bit more into kind of helping. And I've done some posts in the past year or two on LinkedIn where I've actually had a couple dozen moms that have trans kids have followed me and shared their fears. And so doing that content also has, connected me with other people, right? So there's an amazing woman I met on LinkedIn. We connected on Instagram, and her daughter is in my area, like in the East Bay, Alameda kind of area. And she wants to do sports, right? And she's getting pushback at the county level. And, Leah came to me and she's like, do you know Abby Hernandez's mom? And I'm running in circles where people are talking to Abby, AB, sorry, I want to say Abby, but it's AB. Hernandez, like her mom is tagged in post. So I just gave her like the tag. She reached out. They had a great conversation. So even connecting moms to different resources and different people. So like that's kind of like the change I've made. But that was really triggering. Like for me first, like just as a mixed Indigenous person, I was incredibly disappointed at the lack of support from the tribal level. Like that actually occurred on tribal land, and that was shocking in itself that there was not some bigger issue with that. I think the traumatizing of the bullying kind of like I was like reliving my 9th to 12th grade high school years. So like it was pretty intense. I don't know how I kept it together just talking about that. Like, I mean, that was probably the heaviest episode I've ever done on like a podcast. But we kept it together. And I remember, Jess, you closed with some great action oriented items. Like, I just felt like from soup to nuts, right? Start to finish. It just, we steps through everything. And then you close with just some really supportive, what people can do, how we can support each other. Super powerful.
Yeah. Well, I remember one of the things that I found before that, because I wanted to, since it was such a heavy episode, I did want to try to give people something to do. I think that's really important as we walk through and talk through this really rough stuff that we have. And maybe sometimes that's like self-care or something to do for yourself or something to do for, somebody close to you or whatever. But I remember this particular piece because I was looking up, some people were wanting to, some people who have the ability to like send money places were wanting to send money. And so we looked up some of the organizations that were tribally associated organizations and like specifically to us LGBTQIA organizations, and like ones that were very local, and even did some research on them because as I dug into them, some of the, I mean, there's a lot of politics even on the local level with different organizations, and sometimes things happen and you end up realizing that maybe you didn't want to give your money to that organization. So I remember I really looked into the organizations that we suggested people send any contributions to at that time, because it was so close to their passing that was still like a really active thing happening just for their like end of life
Yeah.
services and ceremonies and stuff like that. But
And I thought that was
yeah,
like just a perfect place.
yeah, well, and that has that was even doing that and looking into that. One of the pieces with that was kind of looking at even just have me look a little bit more at my own like local organizations, because there are a few of them here, but even really being clear about the history of those organizations and who is running them, and kind of that that tie-in between like the international community of trans folks, the national community of trans folks, the state level and the local level, and like kind of all of those different levels, and figuring out because sometimes there are ways to participate. Everybody's at their different level of like participation or inclusion or whatever, and it's like for some people it's only going to be online and it may be all international, it may be really broad, and then for some people they may be more comfortable with like physical and local, and it's all really important, it all has value. I think that if you're able to tap into places locally, there are I think it's great to really have a variety of community, but if you're able to have local community, that's really amazing, and can just be really important. It certainly isn't everything, and I know that not everybody has it, but that I remember that being one of the things, because we were like specifically researching the local organizations there. But
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Look at that. We kind of like we had a couple of bastions of really serious talk. But yeah, that was pretty intense.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like I feel like I feel like we're like currently at such an intense time too. Not like we've had a ton of reprieve from it. But I just feel like our
Just
last
keeps
episode
coming.
was yeah, it keeps coming. Our last episode was really, we were talking about really intense stuff too, and
Our last
it's
episode was so intense.
it's just kind of here, I mean, I'm a little bit curious, like I wanted to kind of bring up, because it's really up today, but like since we're already on like the heavy conversation here.
Oh, here we
Okay.
go.
Let's
Buckle
do
up,
it.
folks.
You
I'm ready.
ready?
And just hold on. It's stuck. Hold on.
So like
Okay,
you got it? Did you get your seatbelt? Here, hang on.
I'm ready.
Like-
You gotta pull it slowly. You gotta like let it go and pull it
Oh,
slowly and
sorry.
get stuck.
Just
like
too
too much.
much.
And
Yeah.
then you
Slow.
get
Just
stuck, and you
slow.
gotta, like,
Just tease it along. Just
grab
clip
the-
it.
bring
clip
it. Just
So
Clip
like
it.
I feel like what is happening in I mean, there's like it's like, okay, I'm gonna talk about some intense thing that's actually happening right now, and you guys don't really know what I might be
all
talking
right.
about.
5
because there's
second
so
warning,
many-
chat.
What?
I was saying 5 second warning.
Uh,
Here we go. Intense.
Chicago, really? I feel like what is happening in Chicago right now is
Yes.
is really, really a trip. I mean, like more than just about anything else that is happening right now, that particularly has my attention, because I feel like,
Yes. Same.
and Samara, do you know what's up with Chicago right now?
I was
Okay.
just about to ask, because
Tell the
like
whole
a lot
class.
of the news that we're getting right now about the states is what's going on in Washington and
Yeah.
what's going on else. Like I'm completely lost on what's
Yeah.
happening in.
Yeah,
Bree
yeah. I
Moonfire
mean,
says it's very bad.
it's
It
very
is
bad.
It's very
It's
bad.
hard to, I mean, there is so much chaos happening all over, and that very much is, that very much is a feature, right? But
Not-
in
not a bug.
Chicago, so there's been this kind of standoff with, well, there have been threats by the Trump administration that they will send in ICE. It kind of went down a little bit differently than it did in LA for some different reasons. At first the governor really like pushed back against it. He definitely and that's JB Pritzker. He definitely in certain ways has been trying to dissuade the feds from coming in, then bringing troops in. They were going to bring in troops from like Texas or something, and then like that got shot down. I mean, they're trying all these different ways to like bring in troops, and you know, the government in Illinois seems to be pretty quick to try to like shut it down. But what really has happened that's escalated things, I feel like two major things in the last couple of days have really escalated. One is there's major protests happening outside of one of the ICE facilities in Illinois. And like so much so that journalists have been detained, they've been beaten, they've been, you know, they've taken munitions from chemical agents, like all of that is happening. And then in addition to that happening, there was this raid that took a little minute to hit the news. I think that the raid actually happened a few nights ago, but I feel like it just kind of blew up on the news like maybe like yesterday. But there was a raid that happened at about 10 o'clock at night on an apartment building. And ICE literally cut their way, ICE apparently assisted by the FBI, cut their way into this building. Had a team rappel down with helicopters to get into this building, flash banged into this building, and it was an apartment building. And they basically pulled out a bunch of black and brown people. And one of the witnesses said that they put all the black people in one van, and they put all the brown people who they thought might be immigrants in another van. They had
That
kids
they thought might be immigrants. They didn't confirm.
They thought might be immigrants, right? And let's be clear, they had a bunch of black people. Not that there are not black folks who are immigrants in this country, but those black folks were not immigrants. They knew those black folks were not immigrants. There was no question. That was not the question, right? There were kids that were like, they got out of bed, that were naked, they were zip tied together, they were separated from their parents. Like, it's like really, but I think that that has been happening to immigrant communities for a long time in this country, but especially recently, right? It is really, really ticked up and really, really escalated. But I think that it is that specific raid is kind of, I feel like, a mark, because that is different from what we have seen. And that is not like, they very clearly detained like large groups, like kind of just grabbing large groups of folks that did not even fit the description of immigrants. And what they were doing, based on, it seems like what they were doing from the witnesses, is they were basically holding people and checking their records. So it's like, if anybody had anything against them, they were going to keep them detained. Right. A bunch of people just got let go, like they just got released in the middle of the night because they didn't have anything on their records and they were citizens, right? But it's just like, that is a really pointed, like those two things happening simultaneously in Chicago is like a really pointed escalation. And I think it's getting really tricky. I think it's getting really tricky for the government in Illinois, because they are starting to call up some of their state level police to try to like get involved, but what's going to end up happening, and what's already happening, is that they end up aligning somehow with ICE, even if they're trying to stay separate from them. They're still kind of stifling the protests and stuff like that. So what's going to end up happening is like, we're getting very quickly into like people versus police, like versus any kind of law enforcement situation. I feel like that's a significant difference, because it's one thing to have that kind of thing come from federal agencies, but once you start to look at that happening, if it's also happening on the state level and it's also happening on the local level, and there's not any, you know, if federal, state, and local police start to work all together, like that's actually a different situation than what we've been in before. That's like, that starts to like get us into new territory.
So this is where it actually gets really scary, because there is so little news about that coming out of the States, and it boggles my mind, because like I've heard about Trump wanting to send ICE or the National Guard or some military force to Portland. I heard about it wanting to do it to another state that is I can't recall right now. But basically targeting blue states. I want to say Delaware, I think. I could be wrong.
I wouldn't be surprised. Delaware's pretty blue for at least half the state, but yeah.
Yeah. But the other news, of course, that's coming out of the States right now is the government shutdown, which is where I thought was going. But I mean, obviously, like there the fact that there is so little international reporting about what's going on in Chicago is absolutely astounding. And I mean, right now, international news, I think, is kind of overwhelmed with everything that's going on in the world. And I think it's just
It's on
even,
purpose, I'm pretty sure.
I'm
Yeah.
just surprised
And from
because
the US.
Chicago is literally across a river from Canada. Yes, it's across this wonderful fey creature right here from
My name's
Canada.
River. I made a pun and I said that's me.
Yeah, but I mean from even like just doing doom scrolling, I haven't seen very much about it. But one of the things that doesn't surprise me is that I was doom scrolling one night and up popped somebody who was showing that there's commercials now in the States about please come and join ICE and get $50,000
Yeah.
plus a whole bunch of like what the
Yeah. I roll my eyes every time that commercial comes on because I'm just like, but
these
I
are
think,
things we don't hear about in Canada. Like and it's just it's oh my god.
well, I mean, I think with the whole bonus structure, like there was like some ICE guy was interviewed. He did it for the money, and it reminded me because in like I think it was 2009 Great Recession, I was considering entering the army when I was 39. So I got all the way through MEPS, like did all my stuff right, did my water read thing, and I was talking to other like recruits in MEPS. That's military entrance processing. And I was actually shocked as like an American citizen to find out that most of the people that I was sitting in MEPS with were doing it for a paycheck, right? Like they're from the smallest rural towns. They have zero money, zero options. So instead, they want to all like, try and get paid to be a bullet sponge for the government's wars for oil, right? And other minerals and stuff like that. That was really shocking to me. And like, I mean, I was doing it in like the worst way. I didn't think I'd be able to transition. So I just kind of like was ready to tap out and join the army and do 20 or 25 and, hopefully step on a mine. And that's another story. I think with the ICE bonuses and how they're promoting that, right? It's, Americans need to be reminded that it's like not everybody's doing well. And yeah, that kind of cash and that kind of enlistment bonus is very enticing, right? People might not believe in the mission, but they will do the mission because they need to survive, right? And I feel like Americans, they feel like unless you're living under the overpass over here, you're fine. And it's not true. I think for me, the biggest thing that's shocking that I'm not seeing enough of is his swamp gulag in Florida that got closed with over 1,000 people are missing.
Yes.
Cannot be
2/3
accounted
of
for.
the
I'm like,
are
yeah.
missing.
I'm like, where did they go? Their lawyers don't know where they are, right? I'm like, are they on a plane to Uganda? I mean, it's like there's
Well,
just all this stuff happening that's overwhelming. I mean, to me, it feels like I'm living through V for Vendetta and the beginning of the movie,
yes.
like the prequel that we don't see. That's
Yeah.
what it feels like.
And honestly, if they were on a plane to Uganda, that would be the best solution, the best thing for them because of the fact of the other thing that is happening to some of the people that are disappearing. They're going on planes, but those planes turn around and land with
They do a
fewer
U-turn in
people
the
on them.
ocean. Yeah.
I'm not saying what it is, but yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been hearing some stuff like that. I haven't seen anything validated, but you know what it
Sure.
reminds me of? Pinochet. So the Pinochet regime, I think it was that we overthrew the legitimate government because they were privatizing their resources, or not privatizing making them public, right? So like the country could benefit from the natural resource. American companies hate that because they got to have their cheap ass resources. And what they were doing was like stabbing people, dropping them out of helicopters over the ocean, right? I mean, I think they disappeared something like 10,000 people or 7,000 people. It was like thousands of people gone. And when I heard that, I haven't validated anything, but hearing just the ruffles of that, I immediately thought of South America dictatorships that we helped install.
Well,
The old
that was
playbook.
from Argentina, exactly, where they basically put people on a cargo jet, bound their hands, flew over the ocean, and pushed them out. And you
Yeah.
say like the whole thing about there's no validation. Well, problem is that there's people washing up on shores of Spain.
I know, but I'm just saying that me personally, I have not done my validation of like looking into it, digging deeper. I've heard it, so I'm familiar with it, but I wouldn't be posting about it until I had some clear insight on that. And right now, I
Yeah.
haven't gotten
As a
the clear
journalist,
insight.
can't say that.
Yeah.
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 No,
So,
and that's
like,
completely fair.
yeah, I'm not a journalist, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
like that's the
Sure.
ethical standard that I'm
But
trying
it
to
is
live up to.
journalism, yeah, at the same
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
exactly. No, and I think that there's a lot of things that are happening that is making it hard to confirm. Like, we hear about things happening, but like you said, like, people are disappearing and people are and it's like, okay, they're somewhere, but now it's like, okay, we need to figure out what the heck is going on. And I think the scariest part is that the ICE agency is non-governmental. It's not military. It's not run by the government. It's basically people getting to go off and there's no oversight. That's like terrifying.
Well, the oversight is DHS, Department of Homeland Security, but they're not. I mean, the whole of DHS was created after September 11th, so it's basically like, and yeah, it's I think that it's interesting what they're starting to string together. Interesting and terrifying. What they're starting to string together, because it is horrible for immigrant communities, and we all need to be standing up for immigrant communities. And they're very much starting to cross the line into not non-immigrant communities as well. And they're definitely already, like, I saw somebody was kind of mentioning, they're like, oh, they're ramping up to that, and I'm like, I don't think they're ramping up to that. I think they have started. I mean, and hey, like, there are a lot of ways that the police have been, unfairly incarcerating, like, especially black and brown citizens of the U.S. since the beginning of the U.S., since before the U.S. was the U.S. I mean, that's just like the thing also. But these different kind of extrajudicial, lack of due process experiences that people are going through on this massive scale is just like it's a different level, and that's just very concerning. What like where this goes, with at this point. And I just think that it just seems like, unfortunately, with Chicago, like I said, it's just like that we've got these kind of two really wild, really wild, kind of unprecedented things. Like both of these things that are happening are unprecedented, because also the standoffs that are happening outside of the ICE facility, and now the Illinois State Police getting involved and the local state police getting involved, like that is also very much new territory as well. Like, and that's very different. And again, I think it's very tricky. I'm really trying to watch what Pritzker is saying, specifically on what Pritzker is the governor of Illinois.
Okay, thank you.
And so I'm trying
I
to
wasn't
watch.
trying to interrupt you.
Yeah, I'm trying to watch what he is saying, and what he will do, and also still, like, from the formal sources, and also still get the informal information of what is happening, kind of more like on the ground, with that one. But yeah, it's true. Yeah, but the whole
It's
agency
all
is like less
bad.
than the whole agency is what, less than 25 years old.
It's 25 years old.
Yeah, and I remember
Yeah.
when it was created, and it was a mistake then, right?
It
To
was.
create an extra law enforcement branch for this. The other branches could have handled it, but no, they had to go and do their thing. So,
Well-
thank you, Joseph Lieberman, for that vote. So,
Well, it was supposed to be an agency that was supposed to try to prevent another September 11th. The idea behind it was the premise, the hope of what it was supposed to be, good on paper. In practice,
It was racism.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think
Exactly.
it It was
Yeah.
sold as that, but
It
I
was
mean, it
pretty
was
violent.
Sold as that
racism
too.
from
Yeah.
the jump, because it was Islamophobia very much, like, right, you
Yes.
know, very,
And that's why I
like,
oppose that kind of stuff, because it was utter
yeah.
bullshit. I mean, taking your shoes off the whole day. It's like, I mean, it was ridiculous. I can't even get started
Security
on that shit.
theater. Well, I mean,
Okay.
security theater was
Yeah.
also invented to potentially, well, not potentially, but to also be like, hey, I know you're doing this because of security, but also it's been a while. Now you're going to do it because you can pay more to skip all of the other bullshit that you have to do now. So it was another way to kind of just get more money into privatized systems. But
Yeah. My favorite is like,
yeah,
sorry to cut you off. My favorite
So I
is
was going
like
to say,
before Trump got back in. Before Trump got back in, I was doing some traveling. Every time I went through the DHS Homeland Security screening, they were like, we randomly do these things. Every fucking
Random.
time the bell goes off, and I'm like, they're like, the random screening. I'm like, hey, bro, I've traveled 10 times in the last year, and I've had 9 bells. I'm like, something's telling me it's not quite random, and I'm not sure what.
Yeah.
Is it me? Is big old trans woman coming through? I don't know. But it's like, I hated that aspect of it because there's nothing random about it. They're like, as soon as they get a look at me, they're like, bing, extra screening.
push the under the desk button. It's
Yeah, exactly. It reminds me of that Onion piece where they were doing there was a transgender alert at the White House.
oh my god.
I love The Onion. The
Gender
Onion
diverse
is
people.
The Onion is pure, just mwah.
Yes.
Jumping onto a little bit similar topic, but jumping into a question that was actually from our chat.
She's getting us back on track, everyone. That's great.
That's
My
what
favorite
I'm
part of
here
the
for.
show.
That is literally my job. That's what I get paid negative amount for because Jess takes. Oh, I'm sorry.
This is true.
See?
Listen, Jess has grooming things, like needs the beard oil and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I gotta pay for this, I need a brush and,
That's true.
all sorts of
The
Some
mask
trimmers.
pack.
Yeah.
male
Plus,
accoutrement.
he's earned it.
All right.
He really has.
Question from our chat. The Trans Kitchen, also known as Eve. Taryn, I am traveling for vacation soon. What advice do you have with dealing air travel now, given current day politics?
Well, it kind of depends if you're going international, domestic. If you're going international, I would recommend places that are friendly to the community, and maybe go when most Americans aren't there. Like I ran into some travel problems in Aruba because there were too many Americans from the South there, making my stay in Aruba and Paradise very uncomfortable. As for going for security, outside of my trip to India, that was like probably the worst one I've had. Going to Germany, going to larger metro areas have been fine. I'm always smiling. So I'm like, kind of like try to bring that really positive energy, right? So like, I'm not like looking down, I'm looking him in the eyes and I'm like, hi, hope you, are you having a great day? Here I go. Here's my passport. Boop, boop, boop. Still get the bell, which I can deal with. But
Still get the
just
bell.
still get the bell. But just be conscious of the surroundings. I had a layover in Phoenix last year, and I had a small woman, about 5'2", give me the stink eye the entire time at the gate. She got behind me in line, and as I was about to sit down in my seat, she pushed me from behind. So just be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of who's around you, right? Take precautions. Be safe. She pushed me in between 2 dudes, and nobody said a fucking word.
What a
So,
fit.
and I have no idea. I'm just another really small, angry white woman. And so just be very cognizant of your surroundings. Have your IDs ready, right? Just follow as many rules as you can. Probably be some extra screening. If you go to cities like Miami or like, I don't know, Salt Lake City, be prepared. Like if you are trans, like you might get clocked. I've been followed around Miami's airport a couple times flying in, seeing my daughter. So like, as soon as I get off, they're right there. They see me. They're walking with me till they find out which bathroom I'm going to. And I pick that gender neutral one and I'm okay. So like, just
What
be
the
careful.
fuck?
Well, I mean, Florida at the time had the law, right? Like it was illegal for me. Like it was a crime. I think it was a 3rd-class felony or something. But it was like, so I had to walk a mile, to find the bathroom that's gender neutral and wait for the family of 7 to get out of it, and then I'm good. But so just be aware of the local laws too when you're going. Utah also has a similar law. So like you've got to wait for the family bathroom. The other pro tip I'd say is, are you flying into Portland? Well,
Bree
I
is
mean, with
flying into
ice
Portland.
there, maybe. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's going to be a problem, but they might not be at the airport. So, I think Portland seems pretty neutral. I was there once. Like I had never had any bad experience. I mean, I was high as shit with cops around and just, yeah, everything was good. So, I mean, just be safe. Like I'd say probably take some time and use the bathroom before the plane lands, just in case for less interactions with humans. And I hope that helps.
Oh,
Going into
yeah.
Portland.
Everything's just so much more complicated when you're trans in
It's
this day and
true.
age.
Yay, being trans.
Yeah, I mean, I'm heading
Yay, being trans.
probably
For
to
real,
LA,
though.
but
It's great.
month.
Say it one more time.
So I get that first-hand look at ice in LA if they're still there.
Yeah. Hopefully they're not. I don't know, but I'm
Yeah,
not
but I mean,
sure.
LA seems to rally around each other. So like the fire department and people are towing ice vehicles and chasing people with bricks down the street. So feels kind of a little bit safer.
Yeah.
I know this sounds counterintuitive, but I mean, I trust the citizens of LA more than I trust the federal government.
Yeah.
That's one of the coolest things that I think came out of like all of these ICE attacks in LA is how like all these people of all different cultures and backgrounds bonded together, and it was honestly really cool to see on the TV. The whole thing is terrifying, but it was cool to see like all these people actually bonding together, and it's like, yeah.
Well, and I think it does.
I mean,
It
that's
does
what-
also.
Sorry.
Sorry, I was just gonna say. I think it does also show with what happened in LA. Even though I mean, I believe like ICE is still there and they're still operating, but like kind of what they were hoping to do with that did not work. And
Yeah.
even what they were initially hoping to do with Chicago did not work. And so now I think they've like switched up tactics, and I mean they're doing stuff they haven't ever done before. So it's like, okay,
Right.
didn't expect this one because you haven't done this one yet. But I think that it seems like one of the things that happened with LA was kind of like on a very different level, but kind of like what happened with Jimmy Kimmel, where it's like it all came back very much like, oh no, like the people very much outnumber this group of federal law enforcement who are acting as like kidnappers like right now for the state. And then they ended up having to switch, okay, now we're going to go to DC, or now we're going to go to Chicago because it like wasn't working, and they're trying to like spread around and do this. But it's like, I mean, if you're at all familiar with LA, and again, I don't want to downplay like the shit that happened there or the people that were taken there or the lives that were disrupted there, but like there's a ton of people in LA, and they certainly did not necessarily like I don't think that they got what they wanted out of that battle.
Well, I think the coolest thing
Yeah,
that
I mean, it
came
was
out of
bad
that
PR too
was
because they were. Sorry,
no, please
Go ahead.
go ahead. You're the guest.
it was bad PR, right? Because I mean, you saw those videos. It was on the news. People getting circulated. And I feel like they're still doing the fuckery because I've just seen something where there's an ICE facility in the desert that they're literally shipping people out on trains, which I'm like, Jesus, like, why does everything have to go back to 1933 and 34? I mean, it's just ridiculous. But
I'm fucking
so
saying.
they're still doing
Come
the
on.
fuckery. What's that?
I said, I'm fucking saying. Why's it got to go back to the 30s? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Let's not
Anyway.
bring
I mean,
up the
it's
sea
like-
camp word.
I mean, that's kind of like where I feel like it feels like it's going. I mean, that ICE facility being surrounded. I mean, it's just like, I saw somebody who was in the LGBTQ be like, this is where they want to put us in Madison or like Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's like, it just feels like people are not being seen as people, and they're being seen as opponents or enemies. And then you can do anything to an enemy, right? So it's harder to do something to a mom and a dad and a kid. But when you can just make them so othered, yeah, it's a little bit easier to pull off. But I mean, the one thing I will say that I'm kind of hoping for, if we do have an election in 2028, which I'm hopeful, I want a Nuremberg like trial like we've never seen before. I want these guys like put in front of things. I want them to be like absolutely nailed to the wall. And although I
Yes.
don't believe in the death penalty, I'm willing to relax it for this. So, I just feel like this needs to be made right if we have an opportunity to make it right. I don't want the Jan 6 thing. I want to go we have to go all in. And if you're ever going to stop something and put it down, you've just got to make sure people are held accountable and bring everybody forward. That's been missing.
I was
Sorry,
going
that
to
was
add
the
one of
rebel
the
rouser. That's my dark side.
yeah. I was going to say one of the cool things that bringing it back to the ICE raids and what they weren't expecting in LA. One of the cool things that I remember seeing is they called in the National Guard, and the National Guard basically sat there with their hands in their pocket and is like, they just sat there and said, "We're just here to keep the peace. We're not here to arrest people. We're military. You can't tell us what to do. Fuck you." And I think even we talk about, Trump wanting to send the military here, here, here. And you're seeing all these generals who he called in from all over the world for a random meeting that meant absolutely nothing to most of them. Basically, a lot of these generals who are now talking to media anonymously for the sake of their positions are saying, yeah, it was, he talked. We're not going to do anything because he can't control us. Fuck you. It's just yay, military. Military is good.
That gave me hope. When Hegseth was up there
Yes.
just slamming everybody and doing all that. And
And the
I mean,
crickets
when they
that
turned the
followed.
camera to the crowd and they were all stone faced, and one general was like this,
Oh, there was more than
mean-
one general. There was a
Yeah,
couple,
and it was
there was a
That did
couple
give
that
me
were
hope,
just
too.
sitting to each other and laughing. There was you could see on one of the generals' faces, just pure, are you fucking kidding me? It's just but of course, like I said, all these generals know, these two people who were talking to them, Hegseth and Trump, have no power over them.
Yeah. And I love that Trump got no applause. This is the quietest room that I walked into. I'm like, yeah. You don't own these people. I'm like, yes. A little bit of hope, glimmer of hope.
He got a little snicker at them because, I think he said something about you can do whatever you want. And I don't think that snicker was them laughing at him at his joke. I think they were laughing at the fact of, yeah, okay, it's just... So, yeah, no, I think that was one of the coolest things because here we're expecting the National Guard to come in and help support ICE, but no, they sat there with thumbs up their asses basically saying,
oh, yeah.
Fuck you, ICE.
They deployed them. They deployed them with nothing. I mean, they were sitting on the floors of buildings, right? So disrespectful. I mean, these guys are citizen soldiers.
Right?
They have lives and families, right? And they're just here and just occupy the lobby of the Marriott and just sit on the ground till we tell you to do otherwise. No
But
respect.
yet you're supposed to help us. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah, I mean,
Bree.
what
Send
happened to
them to
hurricane in
pick
Florida?
up trash in D.C.
Well, yeah, they're walking around in their hands in their pockets.
Here are National Guard military people, and it's go pick up trash. Come on.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so it's definitely a
Crazy.
positive out of all this so far, that from all the different levels of engagement of law enforcement officers of the various agencies and military, which again, there should be a separation. I mean, there is a separation, and there should be even more than a separation than there is, but that the majority of them, and again, to this point of this local and state police thing being really important, and how those agencies react, because it's actually, or what the actions they decide to take are, because yeah, National Guard, totally not into it. Military, seemingly not into it. Even with some of the complete war crimes that have been happening in the Caribbean, there are apparently soldiers asking to have it in writing that they can't get, that they can't be prosecuted for the things that they're being asked to do, which hey, part of it is that, our country is an imperialist warmongering country that has sent people to do terrible things to other people. And
Always has been.
always, that's
Yeah.
not new.
Yeah.
That's not new, you know? It just used to be less on the front page, right? That used to be the things
Right.
that we did covertly, and then people would come, and then people would come back with major mental health issues, and we, haven't always had the, taken very good care of them, and we're like kind of causing the problem anyway because we're like sending them to these terrible things, and then are not taking care of them when they get home, and unfortunately that's a lot of times ends up being the profile of people who end up coming in and doing bad things at home because of that. But it's also back to what I was getting at was like that it's like generally the military, the National Guard, totally not into it. Even other law enforcement officers on the state and local level have not been into this and for the most part have not been very supportive. I know different localities, it's a little bit different because again, it kind of depends on who holds the political power in those places. But it's actually, of all these law enforcement officers and military, it's actually still a small percentage of them. It's a small slice of them that are doing these out like way beyond what we are used to seeing them do. And I'm certainly not saying that we
Right.
don't have problems with our police, because we do, but
Wasn't
I think that's still a plus.
there? I think there was actually a video of 2 or 3 police cruisers that were basically following a ICE van and basically like controlling where it goes and basically guiding it out of town. And it's
Yes,
like
I've seen that
you
one.
watch this
That's
video
how
and
you
it's
do
just
it.
like, holy shit, the police are saying get the fuck out. Like, police are supposed to be, well, a cab, but I mean it's just like here's some good ones actually doing what they're supposed to do.
Doing it right. Yeah.
Like, fuck. Why can't we
I
have
mean,
more
that's
of them?
encouraging.
I'll take it.
I
I'll
mean,
take all of the encouraging stuff.
We take the
I
encouraging
mean,
things.
we're starting to see some positives too in the States, right? So there's talk of like not funding these red states anymore, like withholding tax dollars in California. There is talk of California, Washington, and Oregon bonding together on medical research, on universities, on stuff like that. Kind of like, so you're starting to see this like split, right? And even in New York, I know Delaware is part of this, right? Like these states have historically worked together, right, on climate issues. So like California is not abandoning their climate goals. I know it's like, one state out of 50, but the more states that we're starting to see gel together with like common, they might be, like Delaware is different than New York, than Connecticut, than Massachusetts, but there's commonality between that, right? Being on the ocean, it being impacted by climate change, increasingly more powerful storms, all that. So I'm seeing some positive light with that, right? And I agree with withholding money from the federal government. Like, why are we feeding the donor class? You know what I mean? Like, look, I mean, no offense to the red staters. There's good people everywhere in the country. But when California is paying like billions of dollars more than it's receiving, right? That's a problem, and I love that Newsom is taking it at different levels, right? Being like, listen, like, I'm sorry, Wyoming, you're getting $300 for every tax dollar you give into the federal government. That's wrong. And if not, like, we should have better representation, more representations. I'm for any instance where people are standing up at the state level and making change and bringing people together. And like I said, with Newsom, with the laws, like trying to do really positive moves, right, that help protect so we don't lose everything. I mean, at the federal level, like museums have already changed. Curriculum's been thrown out, right? People are terminated from their jobs. It's like state levels, there's still that bastion of resistance, which is positive.
Well, what is it? Like, isn't like 15 to 20% of the US's GDP funneled through California? Like, it's some
Something like that.
obscene amount of money.
I'm
It's the
not sure
fourth
what the
biggest
statistic
economy.
is, but I mean, isn't it? It's like I believe it's like the economy of California is bigger than many countries. Like
I think
just
we're
that,
number
just the-
4. So like the
okay,
US is 1, China's 2. I think Germany's 3, or maybe Japan's 3, and then we're 4. So
Okay,
there's a
yeah.
lot of economy. And on the Pacific coast, I mean, the 3 states, I call PACSIT, so like Pacific Coast
Yeah.
exiting, but like the PACSIT states, right? Like, I mean, there's a lot of industry, there's a lot of resources, and a lot of tech, right? So like there is strength in that unifying like the West Coast and East Coast blocks.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
As of 2024, I was a little bit off, but it's 14.14% of national GDP is from California. And it actually increased from 2023 by 6%.
Wow. That's significant.
So you're
That
pretty
is
close. I mean, you said 15.
insane.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's why like Trumple Thin Skin isn't going so hard on LA and the Bay Area. You know,
Trumple Thin Skin. I
you
love
can't
that.
kick the people that
I
are
love
feeding
that.
your trolls. What's
Okay,
that?
here's the quiz for you Americans, because you should know this better than I should.
Oh God, here we go.
Which states are number 2 and 3?
Oh, New York is definitely one of them.
Texas.
New York is number 3 at 7.92%. What's
Okay.
number 2?
Taryn, you think Texas?
Texas.
Texas.
Ah,
But
there you go.
Texas is, so here's where it's crazy to me as a Canadian. Texas, being as big as oil-centric as it is only at 9.34. It's 5% lower than California.
Yeah. Well, I think in addition to tech,
Math.
even though some tech has moved to Texas because there are certain tax advantages there, I think that in
Mhm.
addition to tech, California still produces more food than just about any
Oh,
other,
yeah.
like for the whole country, which is
I want
very,
to say it was
I
like
mean,
over 20% of the food that's produced in the United States comes from the Central Valley.
yeah, the produce. So it's like that really, I mean, I think both of those, the money is important and influences a ton. The food is also money, but even just that food is also very important. You really can't, there's only a little bit that you can mess with that without it having some really, really major effects. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, when they had ice in the fields chasing migrant workers around,
yep.
right? And then like people not showing up to pick the produce, like, I mean, that's hard economic times. I mean, when you're like, this was prime season, right? Like, I think
Yeah.
agriculture in California goes around like 9 months a year. So it's like, they are literally, messing with the livelihood of ranchers and farmers, migrants who are just trying to make money to survive, and the end result means like, people don't get their stuff. You don't get your lettuce, the way you want it.
Well,
Yep.
and
But
the other
it's like
side of that
deep
is as well
economic
with,
impacts.
Yeah.
and with the other side of that as well is that all the produce that is getting picked, it goes throughout the states, but it also goes to other countries. Like, for example, Canada, we see a lot of like fresh fruits and stuff, but because of the tariffs, a lot of Canadians are now not buying it. There's a lot of like
Congratulations, you played yourself, America.
there's a lot of fruit and veggies and stuff that
Yes.
go bad in the grocery stores because it's
Yep.
made in
Yeah.
US.
Yep. And then you'll stop
Well, yeah,
buying, and
and, like,
that'll affect.
Yeah, and like you're seeing farmers suffer all over the place. I mean, I think Nebraska was like on the verge of collapse, like financially, because it's like what they're doing with tariffs and screwing around with the economy. These guys can't harvest their product, they can't butcher their product, they can't sell their product, and it's like these farmers go hat in hand, put their red baseball cap on and fill their little ballot out. And then he ends up screwing them over. This happened in 2016 to 2020, right? And you think they would have learned, but no, they did not.
Of course not.
And now China's like, screw you. We're going other places for our soybeans, So like, I
Well-
feel like, yeah.
Well, I was just
What
going to
soybean
say, you're
market?
saying China's going to other places. Guess what?
Pause.
Canada's actually been working a lot more with China, Korea, and EU because you're trying to screw our
Yeah.
economy. And our prime minister is actually he's an economist. I struggle with words, sorry. But he's an economist.
love
so,
him, like- How he treats Trump just like puts a smile on my face. But yeah, so I mean, they're just doing all kinds of shady, stupid shit. I mean, the woman who called on 400 Korean engineers at a Hyundai plant in Georgia. I'm like, I
Oh
don't
my
wish
God.
people ill. Like, I don't want people to suffer, right? And I'm not an evilly mean, evil person, just occasionally bitchy. But I'm like, for her, I hope she gets exactly what she voted for. I hope that her values and her ethics, as poor as they are, influence her life to the maximum.
Well,
Because
didn't
I mean,
she
like, she'll
end up
drive
causing
Korea.
like 10,000 jobs because of that? Like she ended up like causing that location, that town, like 10,000 jobs because those 400 people went back and were like, hey, don't send anyone to America. It's dangerous. It's bad. And so that entire
Yeah.
that
And
town
they were
essentially
teaching us how
collapsed
to
because
run the
their
factory and build
economy.
the factory, right?
Exactly.
I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if Hyundai just booked completely. Yep. It
So,
said Trans Kitchen said 500 million in investments and thousands of jobs. Job well
So-
done, maggots.
I think we're going to start wrapping it up here because we're coming up to the
Yeah.
close time. Jess, you've got a
We've
question?
rung 2 bells. Yeah. I have a kind of closing question to get us a little away from the national conversation and everything. But Taryn, what are your go-tos right now to restore yourself? What are your favorite things to, fill up your own cup, if you don't mind, like sharing? Like what's your,
Yeah,
giving
I
yourself
mean-
glimmers, giving yourself props? Like what do you do to keep yourself ready to stay in the fight?
So for me, like sometimes it's a smudge, right? Or smoking the chanupa and doing a little pipe ceremony, right? Just kind of rebalancing, spending time with friends, like just doing cool things. Like my girls and I went to an experiential theater experience for the Compton riots in San Francisco. So it's just like going to networking events, meeting people. And oddly, this sounds counterintuitive, but I've been doing marketing and design for 29 years. I just immerse myself in the work. Like I'm writing complex prompts in Gemini and producing good stuff and like writing articles and thought leadership pieces, getting opportunities to speak to people, right? Like all that energizes me. It's exhausting. I'm doing a series of book reviews on LinkedIn. So we just reviewed Responsible Marketing. We're reviewing Kamala Harris's 107 Days book. And then what I would encourage everybody here is join us in December. We're doing a biographical look at Marsha P. Johnson. So a new book is coming out and we're going to tackle that one. We're also doing the
Awesome.
unmasking of AI. So like I'm just doing these things where I'm meeting great people, planning for the future, working on great projects and just helping each other out, And that's kind of what
That's
fuels me.
awesome.
Love this.
That's so cool. And to close us out, I'm actually going to continue the last segment that we do on every episode because I love it and I think it's amazing. And we'll
What are
do
we
a
doing
quick
again?
round table for this. But what is your plan for self-care for yourself for the rest of the evening and for the weekend? Starting with our wonderful guest, Taryn.
I think I'm going to chill out, get a cannabis beverage, and relax.
That sounds amazing. Jess, Riv, who wants to go next?
That's lovely. I'll go. I'm gonna. I'm probably. I might have an Oktoberfest beer tonight. I might kind of chill out and have a little brewski. And I am going to try this weekend. I'm going to do some Halloween decorating, and I might go camping for one night. So those are my two.
Nice.
Get away from the screens and the news for a little bit. Yeah.
Hey!
All right, Riv.
Wait, question. Do you go like the full 9 yards? Do you go like tent? Do you camp out of the back of a car? Like, do you glamp? How intense? How intense do you get?
I have done. Oh man, this could be a whole nother episode, so I will not go very far with this, but I have done all levels of camping. I have done all of the camping possible. I have just done it all.
All of it.
But this time I'll be camping with my kid, and so it will be very easy car camping. It will be one night. I will have very easy food. The idea will be, just try to keep the kid around and entertain, see some stars. So it'll be super easy car camping. But yeah,
Yes.
all this camping
Love
tales.
this.
Another
fun.
time, camping tales. Yes.
Camping tales.
I love it. Next time we're doing camping
Yeah.
tales because I have a whole bunch as well. Riv,
I'm
what's
hoping
your
to go camping soon.
what's your self-care plans for or weekend plans?
Dreaming about going camping soon. No, my self-care plans for the evening are going to be weed and shawarma and
Ooh.
a random show to
Yum.
binge.
What's your go-to shawarma order?
It's between lamb and chicken. They're both just excellent. Yeah. Little leftovers in
sounds
the
amazing.
fridge and dive into it, get a little stoned, dive into it.
Love that.
It's been a long week. It's been a difficult week. It's been a long year, and we all deserve to treat ourselves. And today, that treat for me is shawarma.
Love that.
I mean, this weekend I'm still doing a deep tissue massage and spending some time in hot tubs. That's my whole
You
weekend.
should have
work.
shared that. That's awesome. I love that.
That's great. That's
Those
great.
both
Well, I mean, I was only
those sound
focused
like
on
wonderful
tonight, but I'm like, my weekend, I try to integrate it. Yeah.
There you go. Oh, I need a deep tissue massage. So we get.
massage.
Like a 1940s detective. Massage. Massage somewhere.
And that's the name of the episode now, officially, is massage.
I am Alan Quarterman. What's that actor's name? Oh my gosh, I can't.
No.
Wait, Sean Connery?
I don't know.
Sean Connery. Yes,
Talking about-
thank you.
Yeah.
I'll take a massage for
favorite one from him
500,
is
Trebek.
So fantastic.
Well, hold on. Now I got to do mine. All right, so I got to do this. So there's like, I could do the Goldfinger one or the dragon one. You know, I played a dragon in a movie once. That's my Sean Connery.
So good, though.
Oh my god.
He did play a dragon in a movie once. It was pretty ridiculous.
He is such a great actor, man. I love that. Oh, man.
Oh,
All right, what about
Good
you,
times.
Samira?
Well, it was amazing to
Yeah,
be
what
with
about
y'all
you?
tonight. Thanks for the opportunity. It was great meeting you, Samara. And
Wait,
really good to see you, Jess.
we
Always
didn't-
good.
No,
we didn't
we're
get to
closing out. We're
Samara.
So
closing
much
out.
is
We're
happening,
closing out. We're
and
no. Taryn's doing the thank yous. Let's close out. We're,
God,
we're
did I
good.
just-
We're good. We're good.
jump through.
no, I think we
Samara's
all
trying to
collectively
take the-
I'm
forgot.
sorry, I didn't need to jump your train.
She's trying to take me out.
Jump your train of thought.
Oh.
Yeah, I totally jumped her train. I'm like, sorry. I just want to say thank you. So very grateful, gratitude for each one of you.
I'm really
We're so
thankful for you.
glad.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you very much for being here. No train on a trans on a
15,000
train.
affirmations.
Trains
Trans
on a
Kitchen, you're
train.
really rocking it tonight. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, she always does. Before we close it out, Samara, what are you gonna do for for self care?
This close. I was this
Yeah,
close.
Just reach in there and just pulled you right the fuck back. Get back here. Tell us your self care.
So, I'm going to go on a bit of a long tangent here because this is awesome. Because the fact is that today we went on today was the kickoff for Banff Pride. Did a parade. It was awesome. First parade I've ever actually walked into because I'm an introvert. I'm awkward. I get social anxiety. I don't like walking down a street and have everybody looking at me. And when you're walking in a parade, everybody's looking at you. It's great. But it was really fun. Then we went and listened to opening ceremonies. It was really cool. And it was really funny because one of the people that was doing the opening ceremony was a MLA, which is a member of the Legislative Assembly. So basically provincial politics, but it's the good party, not the shitty party. But he started talking about, our premier, Danielle Smith, and he suddenly stopped because he mentioned Danielle Smith and then he stopped for a good 15 to 20 seconds as he tried to compose himself to find the right words. It was great. So that's the huge kickoff. Fortunately, I'm actually not going to be here for the weekend to partake in any Pride events, but that was my huge self-care of the day. For the weekend, it's going to be self-care getting my nails done, self-care getting sugared because I hate hair on my body, and then electrolysis on Sunday. So it's a great weekend of pain.
Zap zap.
Pain.
But I'm a masochist, so it's like, yay, pain.
Well, as long as it's not an
Oh,
upper lip,
man.
it'll be a little bit better, right?
Honestly, it probably will be, but I have a nap during my electrolysis.
I feel like our bodies learn how to turn off that part. It's like, oh, you know what? Just gonna turn off that pain sensor for a little bit.
I'm the person who
I mean, I used to
had a
get
nap
high as
during
fuck and
my
still couldn't
tattoo.
get through it. You took a nap through a tattoo?
I had a nap during my tattoo.
I did that.
Oh my God.
Too.
I wish I
I
was
slept
like
during
you.
this one.
Instead, I feel every pain, every neuron.
It was oh shit, dropping chings. It was during this one. I was just laying on the it's a Vulpix from Pokemon, but it's ice and fire. I
Okay.
can't really show
It's
it.
really
Sounds
nice
fantastic.
color on that. Yeah.
But it's fire and ice, yin and yang, Vulpix. I'm so going on bunny trail here. But anyways, I was just laying there like this on the table, and my tattoo artist was going, and I basically had a nap.
There you go.
I enjoy pain. And on that note, we're going
you
to
enjoy it.
end.
It's very restful.
No, we're ending. We're ending. We're
I
done.
get to
Thank you for
decide
coming out,
when we
everybody. We're done.
end. On that
Beautiful.
note, everyone, your homework assignment for self-care is tattoos and naps. Have a great evening.
No one gets back home tonight, and it's all the German angles, expressionist and